Here we are, folks. The final game of the Scrabble Players Championship before we pull players off into our best of five finals. Jackson Smylie, the favorite to fill the second seat and face Josh Sokol in that game. But Joey Mallick, who has never won a Nationals but has been oh so close so many times, will do everything he can to get in. Joey in this game is going to need not just a victory, but a victory by 106 points or more in order to catch Jackson. So Jackson essentially starting with the lead of 106-0. Not just that, but he's also to play first and has a really cool hat. That is a Cards Against Humanity card. And every time you play Cards Against Humanity for the rest of your life, you will think of Jackson Smylie and his hat when it comes up. Jackson, AEN, his first three tiles look awesome. And then another AEN and another E makes this not awesome. And Jackson, without much thought, going to exchange here and exchange 5 tiles down to EN, which is what you want to do in this situation. So Jackson changing 5, and now Joey gets to make the first play out of BEMOSVX. And again, I think a super straightforward play here. But perhaps not. Morris, I see Vox as a clear and away option, but in a game where you need to win by 106, do you consider playing something that'll lead maybe to a more open board?
So if you do something like that, I think you just exchange, right? You exchange BVXO probably, and just let the board be completely anew again. But so I think either of those makes sense depending on how you're approaching the deficit of 106 points you need to clear. Uh, this seems super reasonable though. This limits a lot of Jackson's options a lot of the time, and he'll often have to give nice spots back to you. So totally a fan of going this route.
All right. And Jackson now, after his exchange, ABENOOW. So Jackson likely looking to play a little bit of defense and keep things tight in this game. Top candidate options statically are WOO on top of Vox. Makes a ton of sense. ABEN, a nice leave, 22, a good amount of points. You could also play Oxbow through the X. Not just a geography term you learn in high school, but also a Scrabble word. But that leads to a very open game. And Jackson, curiously, just playing WO here. I wonder, I mean, this is not a play Jackson makes in a normal game under most circumstances, I think. But perhaps he feels WO allows or WOO allows double doubles, maybe gets this board open, and WO perhaps providing a little bit more control. If Jackson is able to make an underlap with OXO, that could crunch this board very tight too. So perhaps Jackson choosing to do that. But WO, not a play I think Jackson makes in a normal game, but one he makes because he only needs to avoid losing by 106 or more. And Joey, BEFMRST now, got to figure out what to do to get back into this game. Well, not back into this game, but essentially he's down 100 points right now. Does he play something like Womb, just extend WO to WOMB? Or maybe FEM on top, forming Fox. FEM is a scary play because you are not going to have an easy time getting to the left or top sides of this board afterwards. Top left quadrant almost completely walled off. But how much can you think about that stuff? I kind of like the play here of FETS, FETS, forming TWO and SOX. It's going to open that top left side, and maybe you can extend the WO later on to get to the top right side. Morris, what thoughts do you have about how to approach this?
Well, I don't think I have time before Joey tells me what I should think. He plays Fets like you said. So, yeah, really interesting play. And there's a lot of room for this board to unfold in so many different ways. It will be really interesting to see kind of the next three turns out what this board becomes. And it gives Joey a nice starting lead, but he needs to clear that 106 mark. He's only 36 of the way there.
And the thing about FETs is, at least right now, all of a sudden the right and bottom sides of this board hard to get to. But again, an extension of WO will allow Joey to get down there. So it's not out of play. A play down from the V could also do something, but Joey will have to sacrifice points to get to those quadrants. And Jackson now playing LOB AELN is a nice balanced leave, though I might prefer to do something like Ballon, Ballon. The NE versus the BE. I suppose they're just about as equal to get back out to that board, but I do not want to get caught up fishing right now in this game. I just want to score 30 every turn. If I do, it's hard to lose by 100 or more. So anyway, lob what Jackson playing, and he will draw more scoring letters, but not a bingo into that nice leave of AELN. As Joey now ABJMORT got to figure out how to respond.
Yeah, I think the merit of Lob is kind of what we're seeing here, where it continues to make the game low scoring, right? Not at, I guess you could have like an S hook for Slob, but or something like that, or Blob is what Joey's doing. But like this is a low scoring game for, or like yeah, a few tiles, that sort of stuff. It gives Jackson a lot of time.
Joey rather wasting no time playing JAMB. I do wonder if JABOT a better option to open up that bottom side of the board, vulnerable to an S hook, but the last thing Joey can do is get walled in here, and you know Jackson looking to wall him in here. Joey pulling corrupt, no spot on this tight board, but we'll see what Jackson's next play is and what opportunities that provides for Joey. AEEHLMN on Jackson's rack, and he'll get to decide how to attack this board, what he wants to do next. I sort of like a play of MAE and JAMBE here. MAE, no front hooks, keeps things nice and tight for Jackson. But other candidate plays like HE here can be overlapped, keep this board open for bingos. I don't know. Perhaps Jackson just going to approach this game with a standard approach, at least for a while, but MAE maybe gives a little bit more board control.
Yeah, that's a nice idea. That seems very solid to me, but Jackson's proven time and time again that he has a plan at a minimum for all of these sorts of little plays. So I'm sure there was a lot of intentional thought behind that. But yeah, I think MAE seemed very strong there. He might have just been tunnel vision to some extent on getting rid of the H. I'm not sure.
Perhaps so. Joey now, he cannot play corrupt. I like a play of COP alongside Jam, JO and HAP. Gonna fork this board open, leave that C out for him to bingo from, and also allows him to play down with one of his R's alongside EM, making REM next turn. But perhaps it's a little too easy for Jackson to just thwart that line with the 30-point clunker from the C.
Yeah, this is interesting.
This is so tough. I haven't really had to think about a game in terms of just don't lose by 100 in a while, and
Yeah.
the way that it changes the approach is definitely tricky. One thing that I don't think Joey can do is play the equity play here of PUL down to the L and blob, as that really walls him in. And Joey is going to open this board up, as I think he's right to do. Kurt, CURT, and oft, giving him some letters to play down. And the way he positions that C means Jackson can't underlap and hit the triple word, as there's no CH in NWL play. AAEHLMN. Now Jackson's rack looks very similar to last turn, and he now gets to make a play.
Yeah, I think Kurt was super strong given the E Jackson floated out last turn. It was just such an easy bingo lane. This really obstructs that, but also doesn't shut down the board. It gives Joey options, but doesn't play into Jackson's hand per se. And Jackson has a very nice play of Hamel set up on his rack. Yeah, there's a lot of different parallel plays. Ham, the one he now has set up, is what I was sort of leaning towards. That will go parallel to the H and E, making aha and mem. But he's now, yeah, he's now considering ama, which I think would be pretty big mistake given that ahem is a word in them as well.
And
So
Ken.
I definitely, yeah, and chem too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think he's going back to ham makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I like this play
He
from
might
Jackson
even
as well.
consider, well, lamb would have been interesting keeping haha, right?
Yeah,
As an
yeah, for
option, but
sure. All of those good
Yeah.
plays. H the only front hook to Aha, and that would have allowed Jackson to score there again next turn. But I think Jackson needs to be a little bit more prepared to address other spots on this board, as I can't imagine Joey doesn't try to continue opening, given how much he needs to win by here. AOPRRTU on Joey's rack. No bingos, although funnily he can play Corrupt, the bingo he had last turn, from the C in order to string a lot of tiles out there.
Well, look at the phone he has set up, Capturer. Uh,
Ooh.
Man, that would be a ballsy play. He looks like he's not opting for that now, but yeah, something like Uproar maybe could be a decent option, starting with the U and Kurt. Something like that would be what my instincts say right away.
Other options, TOUR on top of Blob, making Toft and OBE is a way to continue building up and to the right side of this board, or Vapor, VAPOUR, down from the V in Vox will get things wide open. But I think Corrupt scores so well for him that it's a hard play to pass up, and it will get this board open as well. Big question coming up is, does Corrupt take an S? It's got to be a verb, right? Corrupting, corrupted. So I believe it does. Yeah, it does. And we'll see who draws that. Jackson, AAEIILN on his rack now. So Jackson, AAEILLN. Vowels are never good for blocking up the board, but Jackson has no choice now. He's got all these vowels. He had a very poor pull last turn, and we'll see what he decides to do. I think a play like AI alongside Corrupt is reasonable. It kind of mucks things up. Holds AEILN, and you can expect Joey to continue opening this board and creating bingo lines. But it looks like Jackson also thinking about playing something like Pineal, Pineal, from the P. Maybe Jackson thinking, hey, if I can just play off a lot of tiles every turn, get this game over with quickly, and go digging for one of the two unseen blanks, that would be a better way for me to catch up. Now Jackson looking at a similar play in PNI, but eventually deciding likely he's just going to play AI here, and I think that's a totally fine thing to do given this situation. So AI, Jackson pausing, thinking about it, but finally hitting the clock. I think that's a good thing to do as well. And Joey now, ADEEGNN. Seems like we've lost Moritz for just a second, so I'll be flying solo on the commentary unless my fire alarm goes off again. But Joey has a very nice play through the O of Corrupt. Agone, AGONE. A really solid way to get him back in, get this board even more open and more dynamic. And Jackson needs to be a little bit cognizant now that of the score. If Joey scores another 26 points here, that'll put him up 160 to 107. Jackson's 106-point effective lead, given the standings, is now half evaporated. So Agone is indeed what Joey's going to do. Good play by him there. And AEFILNY, Jackson's rack. To respond. Jackson does have FAY and PAY, a good tight little play to score well and hold good tiles again. He could also consider playing Reify down from the RE, slightly fewer points, but with 7 unseen I's and 4 unseen A's, perhaps Jackson would like to do that. So we will see what Jackson decides to do. He can also go long and play Finely, FINELY, making pan and tie for 32, would hold an A, play off 6 tiles, continue digging for the bag, but open up a Y and this board quite a bit. So I think probably FAY looks like a straightforward play and maybe what Jackson should do, but finally could also be great if Jackson able to pull one of those blanks afterwards. Paying attention to chat now. I don't see that y'all have any particular thoughts. I know there are a lot of rooting interests. Both of these players have a lot of friends in the Scrabble scene and go back quite a ways. Jackson has been playing tournaments since he was in middle school, a former school Scrabble championship. And Joey Mallick has been on the scene for at least 19 or 20 years now. Again, been a long time top expert player. So I see messages of support for all of these players in the chat. People definitely rooting for both players. I'm going to do my best to stay neutral in this game and just give analysis as Jackson, again, considers his options here. I think FAY is going to come down, but finally is very interesting. Great thoughts from my non-existent co-commentator. Man, I can't even stop to get a sip of water. I can't believe I did this to Noah his first day on stream yesterday. Rough. Jackson holding the IY now, IFY, so perhaps looking at reify, definitely looking at his tracking, seeing all of those unseen eyes. You do not want to get caught with 3 eyes, not in this situation. You want your rack at all time to have some flexibility, and you want to have the ability to block things off at any time. So definitely a lot for Jackson to think about. Do we want to play for turnover? Are we afraid to open a triple when we can't lose by a big margin and there's 2 unseen blanks? I don't know what Jackson plans to do, but I think after a lot of deliberation, I just make a boring play of FAY here. Jackson is covering up each of these letters. I wonder if he's considering maybe, what is he doing? Does anybody have any idea why he's covering up these letters? Looking at different leaves, perhaps, trying to figure out what bingos he can draw? I don't know what that was. Looking for 5s, maybe? Looking for 5s? I don't know. Jackson, head in his hands, not super thrilled to be playing Faye, but I just think in the absence of other options, probably what you're going to do. And Joey is sitting on Sanidine, Sanidine, which would play from the A or through the A in Agone, which scores a very low amount of points, but Sanidine kind of maybe looks like an adjective or a noun. It does take an S, and that would create a huge spot on this board. So, Joey, I don't think he's going to have any other options to bingo out of this rack. DEIINNS. Yeah, on this board, no other options, and unless an H pops out, H's are played, G's are not on Jackson's rack. Yeah, Sanidine, the only option he's going to have. So that will be fireworks if that does come down. Jackson going to have a lot to worry about, and it looks like it'll be rather tough for him to do anything about that spot. Joey could catch a huge swing if he bingos, draws the S, and smacks down a 50-point play. Jackson is playing Faye here, and I believe Joey pretty quickly going to dump Sanidine down. I don't think any reason to pass a bingo when you need a lot of points. You just got to hope Jackson doesn't come back with that S. You got to hope you pull a blank on your pull after that and keep going. The absence of Sanidine, your plays are super boring and generic. JIN from the J for 12 does open the board, but I don't know. Sanidine, great idea by Joey, good find by Joey, and Jackson is going to miss all of the S's and both of the blanks on his pull. We'll see what Joey gets, but an S here means all of a sudden I think Joey becomes the favorite to get into the finals. Jackson's sitting on Enliven, unplayable, as this board is tight by design, and Enliven not going to fit anywhere. Jackson's going to have a lot to think about here. A play like NEVI and AIN will mostly muck up the Sanidine spot. But, still short little words available. I can't see Joey's last tile. Drop it in chat if anybody saw it. AEIRZ, oh my goodness, and an N. So Zanier and a blank is Joey's post bingo draw. That is incredible. My goodness, there is 1-7 in that rack, Zingare, as well as a lot of possibility for 8s. But Jackson playing Nevi here, doing what he needs to do to obstruct that spot, and Zingare not going to play for Joey after that play. Joey will still be able to bingo from the A and Faye. Atrazine for 82 will put him up by 151. And Jackson will really need a good pull after that to try to catch up. But yeah, great pull by Joey, a bingo and a bango. And all of a sudden, Joey Mallick looking like your favorite to play Josh in the finals. So Jackson, an I and a G helps a lot with the ELN pull. And another E and another U perhaps puts a damper on what looks awesome. So Joey going to take some time, look at this rack, but you see he's already set up atrazine on his rack. He's seen the word. He's not going to miss it. No, nor would I expect him to in this situation. And all of a sudden, this is not a good situation for Jackson. When atrazine comes down, 151 point deficit. And what does he do? He's been shutting this board down, and all of a sudden he'll need to open it back up. Jackson, very sad as this comes down. I would definitely take off the hat at this point. But atrazine, a nice spot for Joey. He goes ahead 302 to 151. Again, the margin that needs to be hit by Joey is 106 or more. He is now well clear of that benchmark, and Jackson's going to have to be fighting back to get up there. EEGILNU for Jackson. So all of a sudden now he's looking to bingo. And an S or a blank pull for Joey here would be huge. The atrazine spot available. The Q could also be instrumental as atrazine sets up a big Q spot. AADERTT is Joey's pull after his bingo. So no blank. And I believe no bingos out of this rack either. So Joey maybe going to fish for something. Jackson likely to open this board up, though he has spotted the nice refuel through the disconnected RF on top of atrazine. Refuel holds GIN, turns over more tiles. I do like that play. JEU from the J, the other good option here for Jackson, or potentially just fuel if he wants to hold onto that E. It's a little early for this, but let's go ahead and open up the unseen tiles pool, as it looks like a good and balanced bag for these players to be jumping into. We've got a blank, we've got two S's, we've got the Q for that big spot on top of atrazine. Jackson is going to be playing JEU here, and his next pull going to be huge. He'll dodge a big play from Joey, but what will he draw? He gets a T and an E, so Gentile now on Jackson's rack. And that's a nice pull for him, although it doesn't fit on this board. GU
It
and
does.
UG.
GI and Nevi.
Oh, yeah, on top of the G, or on top of the I and Neva. Yes, it does. And welcome back, Morris. Thank you. I'm glad you got your
So
headphones
sorry for
situation
that.
fixed. No,
Yeah,
not a
sorry for
problem.
that,
I'm happy
everyone.
to have you back.
Yeah.
So
So,
Jackson
yeah,
now
this is.
pulling into a bingo.
I'd like to think that Jackson. Oh, well, I guess it was Block. I was going to say. I think Jackson needed me to commentate specifically. Right. He got bingo bangoed while I was gone, and now he's back with good bingo letters. Uh, Correlation, causation, jury's out.
Absolutely. But in any case, Joey's nice play, Dater, 5 overlaps, 40 points, puts him ahead nearly 200 and blocks Jackson's bingo. Joey does not pull the blank yet again, but will pick up the Q, although the spot has just been blocked. And now Jackson got another big decision on his hands. Jackson almost now needs a bingo or a huge score to get back into this game. The S becoming more and more important to hook atrazine, and neither player has it right now. There are 2 left, plus a blank in the bag. I have no idea how Jackson is supposed to get out of this situation. I kind of like the play of teeing underneath Nevi,
Yeah.
Teeing, but that's going to give back QI 464, which would be all but game over. So when a vacuum teeing looks awesome, turn over the tile, score the points. On this iteration, Jackson would be very sad. Oh man, tight, tense game.
Yeah, the chat points out Tingle in the same spot, which I guess if Jackson's looking at the bag, is there any reason to want to keep an E over an L? I mean, 2 L's unseen in this pool versus 3 E's, they're normally 12 versus 4. So the relative amount of E's that have been played off to L's up to this point could mean that he might prefer something like Tingle. It's interesting. If he plays that, that would be very uh, good for Jackson, I guess, in this actual iteration of the game.
Jackson looks like he's going to extend Vox to Voxel here. That would be my guess, which is a good idea for him as well. Give this board some life, try to catch back up, and hugely, that will not give back any major plays for Joey. So Voxel for 15. Can Jackson pull an S? He really needs one if he wants to make it into these finals. Drawing behind his head, what will he pull? Let's find out. WI, not good for Jackson, and great news for Joey, although he doesn't know it just quite yet. ADIKLQT on Joey's rack. The Q, not going to give him many scoring options here, but the K, a great tile for him as it fits on top of atrazine. KIT and ANE. Though, if you're Joey, you don't want to get caught up with this Q on your rack for too long. He could dump it on top of the I and Nevi, but that makes an S even more important in a game where he doesn't have one. I am on the edge of my seat. Both of these players need an S to make their dreams come true and get to the finals of this tournament, and neither one can seem to draw an S or that unseen blank. Whoever gets it first is going to be at a huge edge. Morris, what do you think about this position for Joey?
I think cost seems fairly straightforward as things go. Just score so much, but wow. Wow, that's actually super
Whoa.
interesting. I mean, that makes the S and blank even more important. I was getting nervous because Jackson would have had to choose between Twing and Twinge most likely next turn, and he luckily didn't have to make the decision where that he wanted to go for the QI plays because Joey already had that. But Joey did draw the S from there, so he will have something like Scald next turn.
Are you kidding me?
Um,
One tile pull and he gets the blank. Sometimes you just have the luck and the timing, and that's going to give Joey a huge play. Wow. Jackson, I think, making a nice play here. EW, score some points, keep yourself in bingo range. Can Jackson get an S here or a blank here? He needs one, and he will not. Another G and an I. Things are slipping away from Jackson quickly in this game as Joey has Sanadines and Ski for 51. He's got Scald and QIS for 42. I cannot believe in a game where S's are so huge, Joey plays one tile and draws it.
yeah, I guess that's a lesson for all of us. We need to just play one tile if we want something and not a ton more. But wow, he goes a lot more defensive. Interesting. So I guess the logic of kilts is it blocks the U from Je as well, and it blocks both S lanes. So really the only bingo lane left is QIS now. And I guess playing a top Je to like with NU or something. So really interesting choice by Joey there. It sacrifices points, but it does prevent bingos. I do wonder, and he does draw the blank, so he'll be fine. I do wonder though if that's the optimal play given the spread difference.
I mean, Kilts does put Joey ahead by 195, which effectively puts him ahead by what, 80 something, given he needs to win by 106. So even
89, yeah,
89, yeah. So
89.
even a bingo from Jackson with the QI spot, Joey still in control. But I do wonder how much equity did he give up by doing that? I think if you play Ski or if you play Scald, you're in such commanding position that it's hard to lose this game anyway.
Yeah, I think Scald. I mean, I guess I don't know how many points Kilts is off the top of my head. It's a fair amount. How many fewer was it than Scald?
Well, I'm sorry, between Kilts and Scald.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's actually not that big a difference, maybe 5 or 8 points.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. It just it instinctively QIS bingos with a blank just could score way more, at least in my first glance, than Voxel's play. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it isn't that large a difference. So taking the more probable, right, blocking the more probable spots might be more fruitful there.
Jackson running out of life in this game. Perhaps you can consider like ERG and GIG, unseen 2 A's for Jackson. So I wonder if he tries to maybe set up gigs or giga. He doesn't have any of those tiles though. Maybe looking at GIT in the same spot only two E's unseen for the back hook of GITE, or perhaps he's looking to play just alongside kilts, open up a little line there for him to hit a low scoring bingo. I don't know how Jackson is supposed to get back into this game. He's just drawn so poorly, and Joey scored so many points in such a short window. I'm looking for suggestions from the chat. Perhaps he even does something as aggressive as a king, KING, from the K to try to just throw things wide open all over again.
Yeah, this is you gotta feel for Jackson here. I mean, this is such a tough position. Um, yeah, maybe King, maybe something like King go for broke, right? Because if Joey blocks, he'll likely be creating a bingo line if he goes to either triple.
Yeah,
Um,
Jackson also has Gadi, GADI, forming QI. Just keep things tight on this board, play off two tiles, score a little bit, and see if you can get a bingo next turn and some help from the tile bag. Tile bag isn't looking superb. Maybe Joey's got a bunch of those O's, a U, and a Y, and won't be able to do too much next turn. But Jackson grasping at straws his last life to make it to these finals.
yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense to me instinctively, but he does go with Git, ooh, and this will give back Huvade. So
Hmm.
think it was already kind of game over, or game slash finals appearance over. But this really will seal the deal there.
Yeah,
So
Kuvade coming down 88 points will put Joey ahead by nearly 300, and Joey spotting it immediately. Joey Mallick will be playing Josh Sokol for the national championship starting tomorrow morning. What a great game played by Joey. He did everything he needed to do to keep this board open. He crushed his bingos, finding Sanadine, Atrazine, and Kuvad very quickly, and he held Jackson to 0 bingos, at least so far in this tournament. Bad break for Jackson, but a well played game by Joey, and we'll see him in a best of 5 against Josh Sokol tomorrow.
yeah, do you think reliking comes down here?
I don't care what happens here. Jackson just loses and the tournament's done for him. He's got to be thinking about third place now in this tournament. Now Jackson not without his share of success here. Jackson already won the Word Cup in Albany 2 years ago. He did win $10,000 at that tournament, so he's had his share of luck this tournament. But wow, he was in commanding position to make the finals of this tournament. And we've just seen a string of poor luck on board one for him over the last few days. Jackson, the leader from rounds 8 to 19 or 8 to 20, something like that, and will miss the finals.
Yeah, yeah. Scrabble's a cruel game sometimes, but Jackson's also a very level-headed person and doesn't let a string of results really affect him in the long term. I mean, obviously, you're crushed that you don't get to play that final, especially against someone your game has been shaped by so much in Josh, where they've played each other so often, they really have honed their craft from each other. But yeah, he's someone who I'm sure in his next tournament he'll rebound pretty quickly.
Oh, absolutely. Jackson, a phenomenal player. He's shown us some great games on stream, and I have no doubt that he'll continue to be at the top of the Scrabble world as long as he feels compelled to do so. Jackson dropping down an I, desperation time. Doesn't really matter. There's one tile on the bag, and he'll pull one of them. But again, this game basically over as Jackson picks up a Y. He will have relying in no playable spot, assuming Joey blocks. And wow, exciting stuff here. Joey Mallick drawing 10 out of 10 power tiles, both blanks, all four S's, J, Q, X, and Z, and he could not have gotten this lucky at a better time. He needed a huge victory over a great player to propel himself into the finals, and he has done exactly that. So Joey's best play here, blocking, relying from Jackson, playing something like Dopa and TIP, ensuring that he can go out breaking 500 points. And Jackson, in an absolutely heartbreaking game, is going to struggle to make it not to 300, but even to 250 points. I don't think he's going to get there.
Yeah, so Joey opts for soda. Seems very solid. It sets up his P nicely, although Jackson might cash in the Y there. It's hard to cash in the Y there for Jackson, I guess. But
Soda does
yeah,
most
what a
back gray, Grey and TIE, which will allow Jackson to get to 250. An optimal end game would have kept Jackson even below that mark. But some of the worst luck we've seen for one player and the best luck we've seen for another player in a situation where it all had to unfold that way. Wow. Wow. I can't believe what we've seen, but a great game by Joey, and that will propel him into the finals. Send Jackson some condolences texts. This was a tough situation for him as he had to drop a number of games today. He didn't seem to do much wrong in those. And send congratulations to Joey Mallick as he will be playing against Josh Sokol tomorrow. Let's try to cut to our overhead mic.
wait. Just a question. There could be an E left in the bag. The chat's pointing out that Joey forgot to draw at the end.
No, everything was right.
Okay, just making sure. But yeah, we'll cut out now then.
Thanks. Yeah, not much to post-mortem here. Jackson, obviously quite a bit of emotion. He's a great winner, a great loser, a great sport, but that about as gut-wrenching as it could be. So we won't see a post-mortem here, but we will see Joey Mallick and Jackson Smylie. I'm sorry, Joey Mallick and Josh Sokol in a best-of-5 finals tomorrow morning. I'll try to get confirmation from our production team. I believe we're set to begin again at 9 o'clock for that best-of-5 tomorrow. But let me double check the schedule before I release y'all for the day. Does anybody know for certain what time we're logging in tomorrow? Josh saying, I think it's later. It may be 10 p.m. I want to try to figure that out and say it out loud before everybody logs off for the day. So y'all know what time to tune in tomorrow, skip work or whatever it is. Morris, do you have that information?
I don't off the top of my head. We'll hopefully find it out soon. But yeah, this is I'm still just in shock by just the score of this game, man. And but I don't have anything useful to contribute logistics wise right now.
You hear Colby, the honorary sponsor of Woogles, also in the background in shock as to what just happened, and also wants to know what time play starts tomorrow. I've pulled up the schedule now. It appears to be still 9 a.m. tomorrow, I believe. I don't see anything else indicated on the calendar. Josh also in the chat right now trying to figure out what it is. I believe we're on at 9 o'clock Eastern or 9 o'clock Pacific, noon Eastern tomorrow. If the finals begin later than that, hey, maybe we'll give you a bonus game for players vying for third place tomorrow. Woof, woof, indeed. Colby wants to go outside. He's tired of me sitting on stream. My voice also tired of me being on stream, and y'all tired of listening to me. My plan is to be on again 9 o'clock Pacific, noon Eastern. If the finals begin later, we'll show y'all a bonus game, and we'll get more Scrabble coverage for y'all. Tomorrow, Josh Sokol and Joey Mallick in the finals playing for a good sum of money, and we will see all of y'all there. Matt Canik going to sign off today. And then thank you to Morris for joining us today. I'll be joined by Jared Capel on stream tomorrow, and we'll get Colby out for a walk. Everybody in chat, thanks for your contributions. See you tomorrow.